The Naked Gun is the latest legacy sequel based on a beloved franchise, this time following the son of the original Frank. Liam Neeson plays Frank Jr., a cop in the police squad who is now put on the task to stop a criminal bent on causing chaos around the world. And that's all. Putting aside any spoilers to you guys, this will be a spoiler-free review. I can't believe we have another Naked Gun movie. Going back to that original Naked Gun series with Leslie Nielsen, absolutely love those films. Not just those movies, but Leslie Nielsen himself as an actor. That man was an absolute treasure and is one of the rare celebrity occasions that whenever I found out they passed away, it actually hurt. I think anytime he had a small or big role into a parody movie, he just always had me laughing. And it was because a lot of my love for the original Naked Gun and Leslie Nielsen that I was of course skeptical when I heard that they were going to be rebooting the series, but a lot of that skepticism went away whenever I saw the creative team. We have Seth MacFarlane as producer. I like Family Guy, love what he's done with the Ted movies and the Ted TV series, but also Akiva Schaffer, a super underrated director in Hollywood that has made a lot of my favorite comedies, from Hot Rod to Pop Star, a movie I always tell people go watch because y'all let it flop in the theaters, so I know a lot of y'all haven't seen it. Please watch Pop Star, Never Stop, Never Stopping. And most recently did the Chip and Dale movie on Disney Plus that I really enjoyed. Akiva Schaffer, who's also a member of the Lonely Island, I feel has basically mastered parody, whether it's in song form, in skit form, or in movie form. So it's like, yes, this is the perfect guy to handle this project. Until I started seeing the trailers. Oh man, you could go back on the channel whenever the first Naked Gun trailer came out and you will see Papa Chris struggle to try and be positive with it. I could tell I was trying to convince myself when watching the first trailer for this movie that, oh yeah, this is funny, this is good. Oh. I gotta admit to you, I think the trailers for The Naked Gun have been awful. They really were making me think they didn't get it. Oh, dude, they ruined. No, they went with the most lowbrow, insignificant, unclever humor. Man, I had such high hopes for this. But, I mean, even the trailers aside, I do want to give them props for the marketing. They've done the thing where they've made an OF account. They, of course, have the popcorn bucket. That's a reference to the old Beaver joke. I even saw the really funny PSA ad of Liam Neeson telling the world, comedies are dying. With the help of your money, we could save more comedies in theaters, which is also true. Comedies are dying, and they're a rare breed to find in theaters. So all of that in my mind, all that is what I was thinking going in. Sat down, watched the movie, just hoping the trailers were painting a bad picture, and false alarm, guys. The trailers were not giving this movie enough credit. I'm happy to say here, they actually crushed the reboot for this movie. There's been a lot of talks of legacy sequels lately, and even most recently, we just had one with Happy Gilmore 2 and Adam Sandler, and there's been a huge debate amongst fans whether that's a good movie or a trash movie. I don't think we're gonna have that debate with The Naked Gun, and I am gonna put it in the category of better legacy sequels that actually do justice to the original while paving their own way and respecting what came before. I had such a blast with this movie. It was really funny. Director Akiva Schaffer just nails down what makes a parody movie work. Not just that, he's able to find the charm and feel of those original Naked Guns where this does not feel too far out of place from what came before. The tone of this feels exactly in line of what you would get with the early Leslie Nielsen movies. That's honestly what surprised me the most, is they were actually able to emulate that. And there's even a little bit of jokes in the movie being meta and self-aware that they are trying to fill in some kind of big shoes. Another big skeptical point I had about this movie was also Liam Neeson. Not to say I don't think he's a great actor. Of course, I really dig the guy, and he's mostly known as an action star, right? But our main reference point for how good he could be as Frank Drebin Jr. was in Ted, when he's trying to buy a box of Lucky Charms. And yeah, that scene was funny, but to me, it wasn't funny enough that I thought he could carry The Naked Gun, and the trailers, like I said, were showing me he was not the right guy for this. In the movie, he was the right guy for this. Liam Neeson comes as close as possible to embodying what made Leslie Nielsen so funny back in the day, and it's that dry, serious, deadpan humor that is actually a tough thing to do, but man, he was hitting it down. I'm not saying he's as funny as the original actor, but he gets pretty dang close at times. All the stuff that worked in those original Naked Gun movies with like wordplay or sight gags or even just facial expressions, man, they are so good in this movie. It also honestly felt like such a refreshing type of comedy because I just don't think you see comedies like this very often that are parodies but are also kind of innocent and for everybody. There's like a joke everybody will find funny in here. Of course, it's not that different like the original Naked Gun, where I know we hold those movies high in praise, but I'm not gonna let nostalgia blind me. I went back and watched the original just to like have a fresh mindset going into this one, and there's a ton of jokes in that original Naked Gun that kind of just don't work, that are kind of just, okay, that was cute. And it's no different here. For like about 100 of the jokes they say, yeah, about 30% of them aren't really that funny, and you're just like, okay, that was cute. But the other 70% funny. And those rare like 30-20% jokes that'll be stuck in your mind for days, weeks after you watch the movie, that is here. Because that was honestly the gold point of like the Naked Gun movies. It's like, yeah, they were funny all throughout, but even within them, there was always that 2 or 3 jokes that were so unbelievably funny, they just lifted up the entire movie. And thankfully, this Naked Gun also has those several small jokes that are so huge, you actually miss a couple of jokes. So I was watching this in a packed theater. The audience was eating it up, so much so I couldn't even hear the next joke that followed. Another interesting tidbit about this movie that I don't know whether it's really a positive for some people. The original films are obviously now geared towards an older audience, right? There's a whole generation or a group of people that really like those original Naked Guns that are now much older today, and I'm sure they would also like to appreciate this movie. And the thing that sometimes happens with these legacy sequels is they do the bare minimum to pay respects to the older audience, the original fans, and they're just focused on getting that new young blood. Those new young TikToky kids, bringing them in and hoping that they give all the money to the movie. This isn't the case. There is actually a lot of dated references in this movie. I mean, references that I think your older 40, 50-year-old dad are supposed to understand. And while that would be such a risky move to put a joke that is already 20, 30 years old into this movie, it works. You saw in the trailer, they have the Janet Jackson joke, but somewhere in this movie, there is a joke about TiVo. How many of you guys even remember TiVo? Yeah, there's a TiVo joke in here, and it was funny. And I mean, looking around my press screening for this, a lot of old geezers. No offense to the old geezers. We like you. My grandpappy's an old geezer. But I don't know how they found all these older people, if they went to a nursing home or something. But man, they were eating it up. They were having a good time. And that's what I meant. Like, this movie does a good job of having modern day humor, modern jokes. There's like a whole electric car gag going on throughout the movie, which is a modern thing. But it does not forget or leave behind the older fans. Like, I know this is a movie I'm going to want to watch again to see it with my dad because we bonded and had a good time watching these movies when I was younger. He's gonna freaking love this. There's gonna be so much stuff that he's gonna appreciate because it's not all just very current modern day pop culture references, which always is a thing that plagues parody movies. They want to go so far into the pop culture modern day references. This is pretty spread out. I also want to give some shout outs to some of the supporting cast members. You have Pamela Anderson, who plays the love interest Beth in this movie. She does a really good job as well. He's able to actually handle a lot of the gags alongside Liam Neeson that were pretty funny. You also have Paul Walter Hausen, who I kind of actually hoped he had more. I just saw him in the Fantastic Four as Mole Man, and I'll be honest, he was funnier in the Fantastic Four than he was here. And that's not a fault to him or the script. I just think that's the amount of stuff he got to do. He actually didn't have all that much, but the things he did do were pretty funny. I was just kind of hoping he'd get to do more and be funnier. I am gonna be so disappointed if this movie ends up flopping, no one goes sees it, because man, not only would I love a sequel, but I want kind of Hollywood to know we're ready for parody movies. I mean, we have The Naked Gun that just came out. We have Scary Movie 6 on the horizon. I would love there to be a comeback of these parody films. And I mean, even getting back to that, we do talk about how comedies are dying in the theaters. They are rarely being released in movie theaters, and most comedy nowadays where they are forgotten about within a weekend. This is a real blast of a time, such an enjoying fun movie that you also want to experience with the crowd for that collective humor that goes on throughout it. If I do have to be honest about like any negatives or things I thought were holding the movie back, always as a reminder, this is a specific form of comedy. It's very sight gag heavy, very wordplay heavy, a lot of slapstick. It's a kind of specific kind of humor. I feel like there's enough broad jokes in here for most people to laugh at one or two things, but if The Naked Gun has never been your thing and you've always found parody movies stupid, this isn't going to be the movie to change your mind. Also though, because of the stupidity and just out there nonsense, the plot isn't anything to scream about. If anything, it's like kind of a redundant plot that we've seen a lot in other cop or action type movies, but that's also the point, right? These are parodies on modern day action movies, modern day cop films, so you're gonna see a lot of familiar beats and even familiar beats from the original. But that's like really about it. It's like, yeah, it's a dumb fun movie. It knew what it was doing, and man, it hit the nail on the head. I was so happy when the movie ended. Like the credits rolled and I was smiling going, okay, I didn't hate that. That was actually really good. I enjoyed it. Like, I really did think I was gonna come out being so sour on this and have to make a review being like, guys, it just wasn't for me. Liam Neeson's not as good as Leslie Nielsen. These jokes weren't even funny. I don't have to do that. This was actually enjoyable. Because like even going back to positives on this, I think they even found such a great way to pay respect to Leslie Nielsen in this movie. Not gonna say too much, and it's not the gag you get in the trailers where they're like looking at a photo. There's another way they pay respect to Leslie Nielsen towards the later half of this movie, and the way they do it is the best any legacy sequel has done in paying respects to an old character. Doesn't involve deep faking, doesn't involve CGI or resurrecting a dead character, but it feels like such a Naked Gun dumb way of paying respect, and I think if Leslie was alive, he would have loved it. So when it comes to Naked Gun, I'm gonna give action 3 stars. There's a couple of action sequences, and of course all of them are played for laughs. I did like some of the action scenes in the later half of the movie, really funny. I wish they were a little bit longer. This movie's really short. It's 85 minutes long, so it kind of just breezes by, but it's honestly the perfect length for this movie, because comedies, especially dumb fun ones like this, they can overstay their welcome because we're not buying into the plot. We just want the jokes. Comedy in the movie, 4.5 stars. I love the humor in this movie. Like I said, it's a specific kind of humor of parody, slapstick, sight gag, wordplay humor is your thing. Man, you're gonna have such a good time. I definitely did, and there's so many jokes that happen throughout. I want to go back to catch some of the ones I missed when I was laughing. Drama in the film, I'm gonna give it 2.5 stars. The Naked Gun movies have never been about their story, and while they do a good job of being original, but also playing into the nostalgia and paying respects to what came before, it was a good enough story for us to follow and not for me to pick too much at. Suspense of the movie, I would give it 2 stars. Like, you know this is a comedy. You know anything can happen out of nowhere. I don't think you're really on the edge of your seat for like what's going to happen next, but that's okay for this kind of movie. When it comes to the 3 C's, casual viewers are gonna enjoy this a lot. It doesn't rely so heavily on the nostalgia or connections to the older movies where new people coming in will feel lost. If someone is open to parody movies, this is for sure gonna have them laughing a lot. Cinephiles also as well, I think they're gonna have a good time. There's plenty of action set pieces, Easter eggs, and connections to the original, and they do such a good job of paying homage to what came before but setting a new path. And I don't even think critics will be that hard. It's a movie that's very self-referential, is aware of what it's doing, and at no point do I think it ever becomes too stupid, too dumb. That's kind of an issue they face later on in the Naked Gun movies. This still strikes that perfect balance. So when it comes to the Naked Gun, I think this is a movie not just worth watching in theaters, but also adding to your personal collection.
That's a keeper. Yes.
Again, that's just my opinion on the movie, guys. I had a real blast with this one. Like I said, I'm going to be checking it out one more time to watch it with my dad. I want to know from you, do you think this movie delivered on how you feel a Naked Gun movie should be done? If you're new to the series, was this movie funny for you? And please, let's hope we get a sequel. Don't forget to like, subscribe, follow me on Twitter at 3C Films or on TikTok at 3C Films. But as always, I'm Chris. Take care.